Hey, what's up guys? Phoenix here. This video is going to be another YGOpro duel video where I'm playing with this Cyber Dragon deck that was sent in for a Deck Doctor series. I decided I was going to do another matchup with this deck, specifically against Blue Eyes, which I think is a pretty middle-of-the-road matchup for this deck to possibly play against. I don't think that this deck probably has a good or bad matchup against Blue Eyes, because I think both decks are essentially trying to do the same thing, except this deck might do so a little bit more aggressively, what it's trying to do in the form of going into Cyber Dragon Infinity and stuff like that. But just wanted to try out the matchup and also just put out another video for another set of sample sizes before I did the Deck Doctor video. Now, I did some thinking on how I was going to do the Deck Doctor video, because I was like, wait, I'm going to do this Deck Doctor and then I'm going to try and play these matchups again. And that's going to make it very, very weird for videos. So what I decided I was going to do is I'm going to do the Deck Doctor video, and then I'm going to do another game video, one specific game video that has like one, or not even one, like 2 or 3 games against each of the matchups in them. So it is one video that's all inclusive of all 3 or all 2 or all 4 of the matchups, whatever I'm going to be doing. It'll be a bit longer, but it'll be a set of videos that can go out on the same day, and also it just ends the whole sort of little mini segment of this Deck Doctor with a bang, essentially, is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep things fluid and keep things from being too repetitive, even though I am playing this deck for now a 3rd video, even though in the last one I said I probably wasn't going to play it for another match. Like I said, I decided I just wanted to do so again, because I wanted to establish sort of a standard for how I'm going to handle these Deck Doctors going forward in the Yu-Gi-Oh sense and Yu-Gi-Oh terminology and things like that, or the way this Yu-Gi-Oh channel is going to be functioning. But anyway, let's not waste any more time in this portion of the video. Let's just jump straight into the first game against Blue Eyes, and let's see how this matchup at least starts to flesh out, I guess. So, going into the first game, I chose to go second. I won rock, paper, scissors and chose to go second, which is fine, because if my opponent had won rock, paper, scissors, he would have chosen to go first anyway. He very much likes to play his Blue Eyes deck going first to try and set up boards, especially since he's playing the Galaxy Soldier engine inside of it, so he can, make Cyber Dragon Infinities and stuff. And he opens really well, being able to make a Pleiades, detach to bounce a card that he set, and then Soul Charge 2 Galaxy Soldiers and the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon back, and set Emptiness. Now, he made Infinity, even though this is a matchup against Cyber Dragons, because we have a rule of game 1, even if we know what we're playing against, we act as if we don't know what we're playing against. We act as if we're playing as if, like, no knowledge is given about the matchup. And then game 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, even though there's no siding, we do change our play strings to match what we know the matchup to be. But I'm able to Kaiju over his Pleiades and then Special Cyber Dragon, in which he emptinesses me so that I don't contact straight away. But he summoned his White Spirit Dragon in defense mode, so I get to punch over and then contact for a Chimera attack. And then next turn I just get to kill him because he has no cards to work with. And that's really simple and really easy to deal with. But next game, he opened Emptiness again, opening that card like it's going out of style, and then being able to go into a Galaxy Soldier play. Being able to use White Spirit Dragon off of the end phase, like to be able to go into Blue Eyes, is like something very powerful when you have access to Blue Eye Spirit Dragon going into Azure. But since he doesn't have access to that here, it's kind of weird. But I start with Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, and I summon the 2 big ones, and I try to summon my own Galaxy Soldier, and he flips his Emptiness. So not really anything we can do about that. I crash into the Kaiju so he doesn't have the body. They both go to my graveyard, so Emptiness stays live. So he's got to turn it off on his own turn, and he just summons the Sage, so they bounce to his hand, and the rest of his hand isn't really live. Even if the Emptiness wasn't there, the hand isn't live. So I'm just able to use Kaiju Slumber to search for a Gamma Seal, summon my Dre, and use its level increasing effect. And then I'm just able to attack over his Sage and turn off his Emptiness. But at this point, I get Max Seed on my Galaxy Soldier's second reveal, and I just have to power into the Cyber Dragon Infinity and hope that I get to negate something. But he draws the Alternative Dragon, and he actually banished the other 2 copies of Alternative Dragon off of his desires. He banished 1 Blue Eyes and 2 of the Alternative Dragons. So those Melody of Awakening Dragons in his hand are not live for any targets in his deck. That's why he doesn't activate them over the course of this game. And if he hadn't drawn the alternative, I would have been able to negate one of them, which would at least put me in a better situation. But ultimately, there's not really much I can do about it. And he's able to do a very good play with Gospel Revivals and stuff main phase 2 to make a Titanic Galaxy, and then make a Spirit Dragon. I overload Fusion into a big Chimera attack and just attack over his Silver Dragon until it dies. He banishes all of his Gospels, which is essentially probably not correct, but it's whatever. He just banished them, and then I attack over my Kaiju, and at this point, I've got to try and win the game. I don't know if he's going to be able to make any plays, but there's not really anything I can do about it. I have no Cyber Dragons in my graveyard, so I can't use Repair Plant. And if I'd summoned the Galaxy Soldier, it would be in defense mode. So, the core is the only way I can get damage in, and also search the Repair Plant. But at this point, there's not really much I can do to the fact that he just attacks over my board, or not even attacks over. He pops my my monster with alternative, which he adds back off stone, which I killed the previous turn, and then soul charges into an infinity play, and I can't do anything about that. There's nothing I can do about it. There was arguably a different play I could make, which would be to have discarded the Zwei for Galaxy Soldier, and then use Repair Plant since Zwei would be a Cyber Dragon engrave, because my core is under his infinity, but I mean, that still would mean that I have to bank on him negating the soldier, and like that's not something I want to take the risk of. I'd rather just do the thing that I tried to do, or no, not even discard this way or whatever it was. I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on anymore. All I know is that these matchups are very, very strange, and this was a very late at night match, so we're probably not both playing the best. But as you can see, third game, he opens Emptiness again. Not something I can control, not something I can work with, except that I have the Twin Twister. But I'm having to force through a hand of Galaxy Soldiers, because that's all my play string is, and I'm able to use Cyber Dragon Nova to bring back my core, and I can't target his monsters because of the Azura, and so I have to use Cyber Dragon Nova to attack over the Azura just so it dies and then make Infinity, but my Infinity gets answered by a Blue Eyes alternative dragon that I didn't know was there. He added an alternative and a Blue Eyes to his hand off of Melody, but I mean there was other copies in his hand that I just had no idea were there. So it's just something a little bit bad for me. But he's able to go into a Dark Matter play and then establish a big board with these monsters and all this. And my Overload Fusion is only live for Rampage Dragon because I don't have a Cyber Dragon in my graveyard. I have Cyber Dragon monsters. I don't have a card that's treated as Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. I've got Infinity and Nova, and those two get banished for Rampage. Like, I can't Chimera Tech over Dragon, and even then it would only have been, it would have only had, I think, 4 or 5 monsters. I think it might have been 5. So it would have been able to like bounce and like it would have been able to crash heads with the Dark Matter, but he would have just saved his Return of the Dragon Lord's Banished Effect Engrave for it, so they wouldn't die. So that game was very not in my favor, as you see from the scooping. But so he opens with a hand that's very unplayable by any stretch of the imagination, and so I Kaiju him, summon my Cyber Dragon, I get Max Seed, he Valors my core, and I've just got Power Bond and Overload Fusion in hand, so I'm just going for game through this Max Seed. It's very straightforward and very clear cut. I'm able to make a Rampage Dragon which has 3 attacks, and then overload into another Rampage Dragon which has 3 attacks. So there's 6 Rampage Dragon attacks before the Chimera Tech, Fortress Dragon, or the Gamma Seal even try to touch him. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I think this matchup is very middle of the road. I don't think there's a good or bad matchup scenario happening here because both of these decks are basically just trying to use monsters. If there's any sort of inherent advantage, I think it's probably on my side because I have Kaijus to answer his like big board monsters in the form of like your Azure Eyes, your Spirit Dragon, your Titanic Galaxy, things like that, and he can make Cyber Dragon Infinity. In fact, I don't even know why he made Cyber Dragon Infinity here. I think that he should have just made Pleiades because I have so many Cyber Dragons in hand. But so I summon Core, and Core's search effect is mandatory, so it gets activated and he gets to negate it with Infinity. He has to, or else I'm going to Chimera Tech away with it. But so I'm able to overload, or is that Power Bond? I Power Bonded into Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, and then I used its attack for 3 times, attack over his Infinity, and then attack over his Azure twice because he has Return of the Dragon Lords to save it, and he gets to keep his monsters on board, which just pop my Rampage Dragon, and then he's able to synchro away with the alternative, add it back to hand, summon it again, and then just have game. Like, even though I was on the losing spectrum of these games in the form of I just got 3-2'd, I think, if I recall, I don't think the matchup is too terribly difficult. I think this deck just needs to change certain card choices in the way that it's like played and built. Like, if this deck had any sort of capacity to go first and actually be able to make a board of like Cyber Dragon Infinity plus like other things, then I think the deck would have a much better time against this matchup, because Cyber Dragon Infinity, even 1 key negation against Blue Eyes is usually just really good, especially if they don't open the alternative dragon, because they have to search it. They have to waste multiple cards into the Infinity negation, and that's one of the key things. Like, all of the Blue Eye starter cards are Cards of Constance, Trade In, and Melody of Awakening Dragon, and those are all cards that require you to discard a card as cost, meaning that Infinity and cards like it get insane amount of value. But like I said, I think this matchup's pretty middle of the road, and I think there's a way that this can be adjusted going forward in the deck Doctor, and I just wanted to play this matchup to get more sample sizes, even though the gameplay in this video may not have been the best because it was extremely late at night. We filmed these games between 12 and 2 in the morning, and we were both tired off our asses, but we just wanted to get something done and fleshed out for another video. while we have the chance to. But anyway, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let me know if you like the style of video. Let me know if you like the content I've been producing, all that sort of nonsense. If you want to get notifications of when I put stuff on my channel, if you're not seeing things in your subscription feeds or stuff like that, or if you want to just support the channel in general, I implore you to click that little bell button next to my subscribe button. That turns on notifications to my channel, and you will be notified when I put videos up and do stuff like that as well. If you like this video and you like the content I've been producing, give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here and aren't subscribed, maybe consider subscribing and help support the channel. It would definitely help out a lot, and I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're even an old-time subscriber, maybe if you want to share this channel's content around to some other people that you think might also like the content and encourage them to subscribe as well, it would help out a ton. But other than that, again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you want to send in a deck list for a potential Deck Doctor series, there's a link in the description to an email address. Send it there, and I will see what I can do with it if it catches my interest. But other than that, thanks for watching as always. Thank you for your time as usual, and as always, guys, take care. I will see you in the next video.